Hi, everyone. I'm going to be starting the webinar soon, so just hang tight. 2 minutes to go. I'm just adjusting some last minute. Starting the webinar soon, so last minute controls here. All right. 1 minute to go until we're starting our session. This is exciting. I haven't done one of these webinars in a long time, you guys, but I think we're all set. Okay. I see some of you guys are logging in. If you guys want to chat something to me in the chat box, let me know that you can hear everything okay. That would be cool. I think it's all good though. Everything looks good on my end. So it's 4:30. I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Welcome, everyone. I am live streaming this on YouTube as well, so it's a little bit exciting. My name is Robin Shirley. Most of you all who are here today have been to my events before, so you know who I am, but I will share a little bit more about myself in just a minute, and my notes fell. Tonight, the topic is empowered immunity, and especially for chronically ill patients. Your body is built for this. So there's a lot of implication in this title, and there's a reason for that. So first of all, how is everyone doing? This has been a really wild first 6 months of 2020, and I think it's going to get more wild. So everything is upside down and different with businesses. I've been doing a lot of live events. Now we're doing a lot of virtual stuff, and we'll try to do more live events also, but just it's so great to be connecting. I'm so grateful for the online platforms that we have so that we can still connect. How has everything been going for you guys? I have a feeling that that it's been a mixture of a lot of uncomfortable feelings and change mixed with a little bit of maybe like excitement, a little bit of feeling hopeful for change. For me, I've been experiencing this, like I've been catapulted into change that I did not expect or feel was coming at all. Just all of a sudden, January, February, everything changed in my relationship, my family, my health, my work, just like personal development, personal growth. And I think that we're going through, I mean, if you look at astrology, if you want to look at that too, some answers as to why there's all this intense energy right now, makes a lot of sense. A lot of planets are in retrograde. A lot of like eclipse season just started. Like Pluto and Saturn and Gemini and Sagittarius, which are all very like war and fiery signs and planets are all like aligning in interesting ways. So it's just a really intense period of time for a lot of people. So I can't wait to see you guys in person again and hear how this all went for you guys, and continues to evolve. In general, though, I think it's going to come out good. I think we're going to experience a lot of positive change that we need as a global community. So anyways, that's just how I'm feeling right now. But back to the topic on hand. Why this topic right now? Obviously, we are in the middle of one of the most hyped pandemics of our lives, pretty much, and at least of my generation so far. And I've just been going back and forth between feelings of being so empowered, knowing that I know how to take care of myself, and also feelings of disempowerment, mainly brought on by the media. And I've also been feeling, as I wrote this script for tonight for our presentation, very censored, almost as though I really need to be extremely careful about what I'm going to say to you guys. And that's kind of, I think, how a lot of people in the natural health space feel right now. It's a little bit nerve-wracking. I know I have a lot of colleagues who have been having websites taken down, receiving letters from the FDA telling people they can't talk about vitamins and how they help the body combat viruses. So yes, I'm feeling very much censored as we move into this topic tonight. And I don't want to be, because I know how powerful natural remedies are for the immune system. I'm going to tell you about that in my story in just a minute. But it's such a shame that we feel this way right now. And I don't want it to have a negative effect on your health or my health. The fact that I'm feeling this way and that other people in the health space are feeling this way. So I'm just going to speak my truth. I'm just going to tell you what I've learned for myself that works, and give you resources and things to look at for yourself. So my goal is to help anyone with chronic illness or pre-existing condition, or someone who's more at risk or more susceptible to this virus or any pathogen, just to feel more in control of your health going forward. So my story, let me just begin there. All this, introductory stuff. Let's just begin with telling you my story and why I want to move into the topic of immunity with you guys. I was diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease, which is a bacterial infection, a spirochete that many experts in Lyme disease believe is genetically engineered. They've looked at the DNA of wild Lyme and another Lyme bacteria, the same bacteria, but one is the wild version and one is one that they believe is genetically engineered because of the complexity of its DNA. And that is the one that they're finding in patients who have these symptoms that they're calling chronic Lyme disease, along with a lot of co-infections, viral, fungal, and bacterial co-infections. So when we look at, what's happening in the world right now, someone like me who has known that I've had this infection in my body of chronic Lyme disease for almost 2 decades now. There's a lot we don't know about COVID-19, but personally, I was not that fearful because of the way that I body take care of it. I'm coming when I'm going to talk to you today. That's my personal situation. And I do not want any of you all to think that I'm saying you shouldn't be worried about yourselves, because every body is different. And I'm going to explain more about that and why some people are more at risk than others in a minute. But that's where I'm coming from. And so it's been empowering in a way, but it's also really disempowering, because every time I want to share something with you or share this perspective, I feel censored. And that's okay. That's the way the world is working right now. But for this talk, I'm going to try to just be real open and everything. So I see from a note from you all that you guys are here. One of you is having trouble getting your mic to work in video, but glad to be here. Let me know if that clears up, Deb, because I want you to be able to hear. If anyone else is having trouble hearing, just let me know. But I think it should be working good. Okay, so let me dive in. I want to share my screen with you guys and show you the little presentation I put together. And here we go. That's not the right one. So empowered immunity. After I found out that I was diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease, I went into a mode of, what do I do now to support my immune system? That has been my 100% focus for almost 12 years now. So that's what I want to talk to you about. How do you support your immune system? We're not going to talk about, fighting a particular virus in general. We're going to talk about, how do you support your immune system? And there's 3 ways to do that. I want to share with you guys, first of all, what is immunity, that as I come to know it, a really simple way of looking at it. What is preventative immunity, preventing yourself from getting sick? And then what do you do if you get sick? What I'm going to do if I get this virus? What would I do if I got sick? I'm going to share that with you guys. Before I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, I was diagnosed with systemic juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, which is later I found out is actually can be caused by chronic Lyme infection. So it involves multiple organ systems and your joints, and it's just very, very painful and inflammatory. The problem was that I was being treated to suppress my immunity, which a lot of people with autoimmune conditions is happening right now, because the immune system is attacking healthy cells, so-called healthy cells in your body. And so the goal is to stop that attack on those cells. That is what the drugs do. And that's where you come in with this idea of someone with a compromised, or someone who has a low immune system, someone who has a pre-existing condition that has a compromised immune system. That's what they're talking about. There's also a situation where, there's cancer, there's diabetes, and heart disease. And so each of those conditions has a different specific reason why their immune system might be more compromised, so to speak. In my particular case, I got off of those drugs about a decade ago and switched to natural methods when I learned that I had Lyme disease, which was an infection, so that I knew, okay, suppressing my immunity is not the right way to go anymore. So I changed to, how can I support my immunity? For the last 10 years, my focus has been fighting a genetically engineered bacteria with viral and fungal co-infections. So that's what I want to teach you guys today, is what I've been doing and what I've found has helped, and some ideas on what other people are doing too. The cool thing to remember that can empower you is that the immune system inherently knows what to do. It does. What I found through spending 24/7 researching this, why I couldn't get myself off the couch because I was in so much pain from the arthritis, there's a concept of total load theory. And that's when your body's so overwhelmed with toxins and infection that your immune system cannot do its work that it's meant to do. It's overburdened. The load of toxins and infection in your body is so high that your immune system literally cannot take care of all of it on its own. So this is the total load theory. The more load, the higher load of toxins and infection you have, the sicker you're going to be chronically. A really simple way of explaining it is also like if you're really stressed, like a mainstream, like conventional way of explaining this is you're stressed out, you're not getting enough sleep, you're going through trauma or grief because your father just passed away, you encounter flu virus, you're going to get extra sick with that this time because your body has a lot of load of stressors on it. No sleep, stress from work, your father just passed away. Your immune system isn't functioning at its peak, and you've got a lot of stress in your life. So, um, that's one way of looking at it that's more simplified. Total load theory in my case was I had really high cadmium, lead, and mercury levels. I had bacteria, Lyme bacteria, plus all the viral and fungal co-infections, Candida, Epstein-Barr, Ehrlichia. I had lots of stuff going on. So um, that's a load of infection and toxins with heavy metal, plus also very stressed out, stressful lifestyle just because of my own personal belief system about who I was in the world and how I was supposed to behave and interact with people in the world around me caused a lot of stress. Going through college, trying to, date and live normally while I was chronically ill, having the chronic pain causes more stress, vicious cycle. So my total load is very high. Also, we have, Wi-Fi. I'm preaching to the choir now because I know you guys know about all that. So, the higher your load, the more susceptible you are. Moving into the immune system and what is immunity, pathogens and toxins that contribute to this total load theory, they come into your body through our mucous membranes in our nose, our lungs, our throat, mouth, stomach, intestines, or through open wounds. Okay, so if you cut yourself, that's why you clean it and put a bandage over it. One thing that I want to make sure we're all really clear on and really comfortable with is that immunity is passed down from generations, mother to child, mother to child, mother to child. And immunity is also built into our bodies, okay? So we usually don't have to do anything except live a healthy lifestyle. Pre-modern times, pre all of this toxic world that we're living in. We generally didn't really have to do much except take care of wounds when we hurt ourselves and eat healthy and that sort of thing, take herbal medicine when we got sick. That's how we used to handle interacting with our immune system. So immunity really is built into our bodies. Getting a little bit deeper into this concept, more about immunity. This idea of immunity built into our body, we have, for example, all of these things here. We have antibacterial proteins in our skin. We have acidic urine to keep the bacterial count low. We have stomach acid to sterilize our food that we take in. We have intestinal microbes that outnumber and combat any pathogens that come in. These intestinal microbes produce hydrogen peroxide-like liquids that further help keep the pathogenic levels low in our digestive system. The pH in our bodily fluids is strategic so that it's inhospitable. That liquid is inhospitable to pathogens throughout our whole body. Some of our body fluids are supposed to be alkaline and some of them are supposed to be acidic. So for example, saliva and urine are supposed to be slightly acidic. If it's alkaline, then your body's out of balance. Your blood, however, should be slightly alkaline. That provides an inhospitable environment to pathogens in the blood. So anyways, moving on, we also have reflexes like vomiting, diarrhea, and coughing. So if we take in something that our body is like, nope, that is, not sterile, I don't want that, we'll vomit or we will have diarrhea. And same things with our lungs. If we take something in like a bunch of dust or some other foreign substance that our body doesn't like, we will start coughing to get it out of our body. Again, these are all just like random examples that I just thought of, and I know there are so many more, but and then lastly, of course, the big piece that most people think of when they think of their immune system are the immune cells and the lymphatic network within our body. So that's inside. That's once the pathogen has already reached the inside. Everything I mentioned before are basically things that are kind of still considered outside the body before they actually come in and infect, short of the pH of your blood. That would be inside your body. But everything else above is kind of like just protecting our body from the pathogens actually getting inside. Then you have the immune cells. That's where you think like neutrophils, white blood cells that engulf and digest the foreign bodies, and you have the blood cells that mark the pathogens for the white blood cells, and you have the lymph nodes and lymphatic fluid that carries all those cells to where they need to go. That's why your lymph nodes get swollen, because there's lots of activity in them when you get sick. So that's kind of built-in immunity there. And I am going to flip over to another screen real quick, because I want to just check on everything and see how you guys are doing here. Whoops. So everything's good. This is what you get for the first time webinar host. All right, back to the screen. Let's keep going. So we had built-in immunity. Let me talk about two other parts of the immune system in more detail quickly. The passed down immunity that I talked about from mother to child and so on for generations, okay? So you pass down lifestyle. I've already kind of touched on how lifestyle is so important to immunity. And the microbiome. I already mentioned the microbiome inside your digestive system. Well, we have a microbiome in our eyes. We have it in our nose, our lungs, our skin has its own microbiome. The vagina has its own microbiome. The underarms has its own, your hands, the palm of your hands has its own unique microbiome. I'm sure your ears do, your neck, your throat, everything. So this is all passed down from mother to child. And that's why you hear this popular trending phrase now, skin to skin contact, skin to skin right when they're born. Vaginal birth is so important because they're getting your microbiome, and so important for a mother to work on her microbiome before she gets pregnant so that she can pass a healthy one on to her child. Feeding by breast milk is passing on microbiome as well, because your breasts have the skin has its own microbiome the child is sucking on, and then the milk has probiotics in it from your own body as well. Not only that, but milk, as we all know, it stimulates mucus production. That's why, when you drink cow's milk, you notice a little bit more mucus. Cow's milk is very mucus producing. It's natural actually for milk to do that. It's supposed to happen. And it's because it stimulates mucus production in the baby's digestive tract, which is how the good bacteria latches on and starts to form colonies inside the baby's digestive tract. So it's a part of evolution, this mucus producing effect of milk. Okay, I thought that was fascinating. The mother's also passing on her antibodies and information to the baby's immune system. So this is why you hear from midwives, and I went the midwife route for both of my babies, but I'm sure doctors are catching on to this now as well and telling the mother that when you're sick or when your child is sick, one of the best things that you can do is continue nursing them. So if your baby comes down with a cold, or if you come down with a cold, don't stop nursing them, keep nursing them, because the antibodies that your body builds, the baby will then get. And then here we go, mineral stores and vitamins. Minerals and vitamins are so important to give the immune system what it needs to function. So the mom passes on all of this to the child in the womb and also through breast milk. Yes, it does happen. I have felt it, and it will drain you. So it's so important to pay attention to your nutrition when you're of childbearing age and after you have kids to replenish that. So the baby's supposed to be set up really well with good support for their immune system passed down from the mother. And this is supposed to set you up for lifelong empowered immunity. And then, of course, immunity, I feel like you can't talk about immunity without talking about lifestyle and how that interplays and becomes part of your immune system as well. Good sleep, low stress, sunshine, natural exercise, spices and herbs, and that was very prevalent in traditional cooking, herbal traditions. Here I feel censored not to say herbal medicine, but there was herbal medicine that was not censored when, but long ago, not too long ago. So most times when people succumbed to a virus or bacteria, it's because their body was susceptible. They were old, they had a pre-existing condition, or their lifestyle wasn't quite right. That's obviously excluding extreme cases, but that's the trend, that's the norm, okay? That's what the body's supposed to be able to do. Now, supporting your immunity in this modern age is a little bit different because some of these lifestyle things are a little bit difficult. Most moms aren't told about all of this, so they're not as careful with their newborns. That's the wrong word. They're not able to, because their lifestyle, and they're not aware of how powerful all these things are. And then built-in immunity is disrupted by poor nutrition and lifestyle. So in the modern lifestyle that we live, which actually right now is interesting because with everyone being required to stay at home, I bet that a lot of these lifestyle points have been a little bit easier for you. Easier to take a break in the middle of the day and walk outside your house and sit on the front step in the sunshine, or take a walk in the morning because you don't have to commute to work. Cook at home for yourself because we're not allowed to go to restaurants. Study, look into herbal supplements and pills, get your health right. Get more sleep, again, because you're not commuting and you're not having to spend so much time getting yourself ready for a big day at work. Of course, if you're a parent, then things are completely opposite and the house is complete chaos right now, but it's still fun. And we're learning to take walks and get sleep and sunshine and food together in our chaos. So, okay. This is my 3-step approach for supporting immunity that I think is really, it's just a helpful way. If you have to remember one thing from this presentation, this is the slide to remember. Number 1, you want to relieve the burden on your immune system. So that would be removing obstacles to immunity. Remember, I talked about the total load theory, which was the overwhelm of all the toxins, the infections, bad habits. So that's the first pillar, relieving the burden on the immune system as much as you can. You won't be perfect. And then number 2, providing nutrients, which is really giving you the immune system what it needs to do its thing. So these first 2 steps are about prevention, making your body healthy so that you can then, your immune system is then freed up and empowered to fight pathogens that come in. We can't underestimate the power of these 2 steps. Most people have never experienced the power of these 2 steps because our lifestyles just simply don't allow it. Or we're just not in a place where we have to be so vigilant about our health. And I make that sound like it's not fun, and I don't want to, because taking back my health has been the most exciting and fun journey of life. And I love my life so much better now. I love my healthy habits and I feel so much better. So taking back your health is really actually enjoyable and fun. Number 3, use antimicrobials. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, this is where I feel censored because colleagues of mine are literally getting letters from the FDA saying that you cannot claim that vitamin C helps fight COVID-19. Well, that's fine, whatever. Don't say it fights COVID-19, but you can say it fights COVID. You can say it fights viral infections, especially respiratory infections, because there are studies published on the NIH website and on PubMed that say that. And so, and I actually have links to that in a blog article that I did, which is on the front page of my website. My website's at the end of the slide, so you'll see it. But when you do come down with something, what should you do? You should assist the immune system through bypassing it. Don't worry about trying to manipulate your immune system. There's this idea with, especially with autoimmune patients, I don't want to boost my immunity because then I'll boost all my symptoms. My immune system will go crazy and attack all my healthy cells. No, that's just backward thinking. Refer to steps 1 and 2. That's how you clear up your immune system and get it working right and not attacking healthy cells. Number 3, use antimicrobials to bring down the infection alongside the immune system. So it goes directly to the infection and works against the infection. It doesn't stimulate the immune system to do it necessarily. I know there are some that can, but we're going to talk about ones that just go directly to the infection. So all these steps, 1, 2, and 3, help support your immunity in really powerful ways. So if you notice, 1 and 2 say prevention, and number 3 says acute. So 1 and 2 is how to prevent, and 3 is what you do in an acute situation when you're infected. So let's start with prevention real quick. Long-term habitual daily support for the immune system for prevention, allowing the immune system to do what it knows how to do and giving it what it needs to do it. So you have this idea, again, that the immune system knows what to do. We just need to provide support for it. And here's a quote that I'm going to read. It goes along with prevention. If I could live my life over again, I would devote it to proving that germs seek their natural habitat, diseased tissue, rather than being the cause of diseased tissue. Example, mosquitoes seek stagnant water, but do not cause the pool to become stagnant. Dr. Rudolf Virchow, father of pathology. So this is something that's been passed around Instagram, especially on my feed, because I follow a lot of holistic health professionals. This is just another explanation as to how we keep coming around and saying that it's the person who has a pre-existing condition that's more at risk because germs seek diseased tissue. So that doesn't necessarily make people feel better who have a pre-existing condition, but what it can do is it can make you feel better if you don't have a pre-existing condition, and it can make you feel like, oh, this is my time to take back my health. This is a sign, this is a push. I need to get healthy. I need to get my body right. So what can you do? We talked about the first part of prevention is to relieve the burden. I'm going to go through 6 things real quick. This is the first 3. Stress, relieving physical, mental, emotional, environmental, and physiological stress. It can take a long time to really de-stress your life. And I understand that. But if you write down all the things that are stressing you out, if you feel like stress is one of your big issues, write down all the things that are stressing you out and then rank them and just get rid of the most stressful thing. It's like that 80-20 principle. 80% of the things, 80, 20, what is 80-20? It's like 80% of the stress can be taken away by just one thing. And the other 20% of your stress comes from all the other little things. So don't worry about that 20%. Just take care of the one stressor that is causing you 80% of your stress. Okay. Moldy foods. Mold toxins dampen your immunity and require many nutrients to detoxify. Okay, so mold toxins come in, you see this picture through fruit. A lot of berries have mold on it that we can't necessarily see if we're not looking carefully. Make sure you check your berries. Other citrus fruits commonly have mold, cashews, chamomile tea, other dried fruits and herbs. So you just want to make sure that the source of your food is really good quality. Your body needs a lot of vitamin C to detox mycotoxins. So I take vitamin C on a regular basis. I put vitamin C powder into every glass of water that I drink every day ever since January 2020. So that's one way to help your body with mold toxins. Also, I just tested my home again for mold toxins. We got some positive results, so that's great. You can find tests on Amazon to do that. It's great. Infections. chronic viral, fungal, and bacterial infections cause ongoing burden on your immune system. So you want to knock those down little by little. And it can take, 6 months to a year to really see a big effect from a strategic antimicrobial protocol. But that's something that's really important to pay attention to. And it doesn't have to be a big, huge part of your life. It can be taking a very easy, gentle protocol over the course of a year, switching it up every couple of months. And someone who's, ICANN or someone else who does herbal and holistic health coaching can help you find a protocol, probably a holistic pediatrician, maybe. So that's something to pay attention to. And that would be like Epstein-Barr, again, Lyme disease, Candida, different infections that might be affecting you on a regular basis. Okay, relieve the burden. Refined sugar. Refined sugar is going to slow the activity of your neutrophils, white blood cells that engulf pathogens, for up to 6 hours after consumption. So getting the refined sugar out of your diet. A lot of you who have been to my retreats know that I'm really passionate about teaching you guys how to use natural sweeteners. And we have dessert every day, which you don't have to have dessert every day, but we have dessert made from real nutrient-dense ingredients and natural sugars. So we'll use like honey or maple syrup here and there, and fruit and dried fruit to sweeten it. So that's really fun. But refined sugar and high doses of sugar, sweetness that spikes your blood sugar, will slow the activity of neutrophils for up to 6 hours after consumption. If you really love sugar a lot and you need a sweetener every day, try stevia, because that does not spike your blood sugar. Stevia is also antimicrobial, especially for the Lyme bacteria. Heavy metals they're chaotic free radicals, and they're not only identified as foreign objects by your immune system, but they create more damage for the immune system to clean up. So most people, and I am going to bring up the immunization issue here, because most people of my generation, I'm 32 years old, most people of my generation who had the MTHFR gene, or the problem with the detox gene, and who had immunizations according to the CDC schedule, are allergic. Actually, they mount an immune response to those metals that were in their immunizations, because that's what they do. They're designed to make you have an immune response to every ingredient in that vial. So aluminum and mercury and everything. So it's even harder to detoxify those once you have taught your immune system to have an immune response to them. Heavy metals are from, every generation has been exposed to heavy metals in different ways. So there was lead paint, leaded gasoline, which is all in our environment, lead in children's toys, the mercury in thermometers, cadmium in plastic water bottles if you're drinking water from plastic water bottles. What else? I mean, I can't even think right now, but there are so many. So heavy metals is a big issue. And I'm actually doing a webinar on detoxifying heavy metals in a couple of weeks, evolving technology around heavy metal detoxification. I've talked a lot about how I used to detox heavy metals using frequent low dose chelation. And it's a really clunky, tiresome detox protocol. And there are new technologies available and that I'm experimenting with and that I'm learning a lot about. So I'm going to share some of that. Okay. Wi-Fi suppresses and overwhelms your body's natural rhythms, causes inflammation. So there we go again with just overwhelming your system and your immune system in general. So relieving the burden is really, really important there in giving your body the opportunity to do what it needs to do. Okay, providing necessary nutrients. How about if we take a quick intermission, because I want to see how everyone's doing. This is one of my first webinars, and I am just thinking that I want to make sure, oh, there you guys go and see my whole desktop. Where are you guys? Participants. Okay, cool. You guys are still there. Okay. So the next part of this is really about providing necessary nutrients to your body. And it's going to be, there we go. It's going to be another new lifestyle to get used to, because most of us, and this is if if you have one of the issues I've mentioned, pre-existing conditions, or if you're at higher risk for this virus or any other, you have to be really careful about providing your body what it needs. I learned this lesson the really, 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 really hard way when I was pregnant. I had just started drinking Berkey filtered water, which is like reverse osmosis. Basically, it takes all the minerals out of your water. On top of that, I got pregnant and then nursed for a year and a half, and then got pregnant again, and now I'm in the process of nursing, and it's almost been a year. So I've been pregnant or nursing for 2.5 years, no, 3.5 years. And I've lost 2 teeth because of it. And I almost had a really bad relapse of the Lyme disease. So I got loose about my habits here. I did not provide my body with what it needed. And I knew it as I was going through it. But I'm one of those people who had really severe depression, anxiety, postpartum anxiety after my first child, and depression during the second pregnancy. And so on top of that, and a bunch of lifestyle changes we were going through, including moving across the country, I could not keep up with taking care of myself. So so I learned the hard way there. But I'm back on track. I don't want to underemphasize this. I want you guys to know that this is really powerful stuff that you can do. Sleeping. It is like the most silly thing to say, because it's like everyone's kind of like duh, but at the same time they're like, I can't get sleep, or I'm not going to go to sleep. If you have kids, it's like, no, I'm never going to get sleep. If you don't have kids, it's like, you're lonely, so you just watch Netflix all night. So either way, you stay up and you end up missing sleep. And it's not so much that you need to make your life unfun or miss out on things. It's just really important to sleep during the right time of day, and just for enough so that your body can replenish and your immune system can do its work, which it mostly does at night. So sleeping before midnight's really important. So also sleeping 7 to 9 hours for an adult, or 10 to 12 hours a night for children. Okay. So 7 to 9 hours for an adult and 10 to 12 hours a night for children. And as much of it before midnight as you can. So like for a child, 7 p.m. is really important bedtime. 8 p.m. at the latest. They will sleep till 7 or 8 in the morning. An adult, like, really try to be asleep by 10 p.m. at the latest, 9 p.m., and you'll feel like you're 20 years old again when you wake up, I promise, if you go to bed at 9 p.m. It's amazing. Okay. Vitamins. Vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin C from food plus supplementation, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But these are the big 3 vitamins that we've identified in our society as helpful against viral infections and supportive of the immune system, specifically towards those viral infections. So I'm going to talk about different supplements, because supplementing when you are in a deficit is necessary. You can't get to a baseline if you're just eating, expecting to get it out of your food. But that nutrient from foods piece is really important to maintain the baseline. So vitamin A comes from animal foods. Beta carotene, the precursor to vitamin A, comes from plant foods. Your body can only convert 30% of beta carotene into vitamin A. So if you see vitamin A listed on a nutrition label of a plant food, cut it by 2/3, and that's what you're actually getting in vitamin A. If you see it on a label of an animal food, then that's more accurate. Liver, like chicken livers, it's really high in vitamin A. I think egg yolks has a significant amount. dairy, some of it has vitamin A if it's good quality. Some muscle meats like steak have a little bit, and my mind's blanking, but we'll get back to that in a minute. Vitamin D, same thing. It's in animal foods, and um, we also get it from, if you're exposing like arms, legs, face, maybe your stomach, you'll get plenty of vitamin D that way. Then you also have vitamin C, which you can get from fruits, vegetables, and really well from supplements, vitamin C powder, superfoods like camu. All right, that's on more for the next slide too. Minerals give your endocrine system what it needs to maintain homeostasis. So minerals, trace minerals, we have, I mean, the big ones that we've been hearing a lot about recently: magnesium, calcium, phosphorus, um, iodine, what else? Zinc. Zinc's very important for immune support. So you can get trace minerals from sardines with the bone in, or canned salmon with the bone in. You can get it from salt, pink salt or gray salt, unbleached, root vegetables, greens, bone broth, seaweed, herbs, etc. And what else? I think that's the main mineral rich foods I was going to mention. Some soaked nuts and seeds as well. Okay, sunshine and fresh air, vitamin D, purifying. This is so exciting. Sunshine, the UV rays, sorry, there's a little typo here, V rays. UV rays are sterilizing. They use UV rays to sterilize medical equipment, and they use UV rays now in air purifiers that many just regular consumers have in their home. To go outside, get sunshine, fresh air, appropriate exercise for your age range, for your health conditions. It'll strengthen your lung capacity, increase nutrient blood flow, and therefore nutrient flow, increase the oxygenation of your body. It'll help cleanse and detoxify your body. Supplementation. Okay, these are kind of some like basic supplements that I take year round, and it's basically what I've already said. Liver, I take desiccated beef liver from grass-fed cows year round because I'm of childbearing age. In the winter is most important for most people. Cod liver oil, I take it year round because I'm a woman of childbearing age. My children take it year round, but they take a much lower dose. Iodine, I put a few drops on my wrist every day and rub it in. So important to support the thyroid. The thyroid has an important part of the immune system in that your blood, as it passes through the thyroid several times a day, the thyroid hormones, which utilize iodine in their structure, actually help sterilize the blood. If you remember, hospitals used to, maybe I haven't been to hospital in a while, but they would use this brown liquid to sterilize your skin. That's iodine that does that. Iodine is antibacterial. Vitamin C, I mentioned this before. Vitamin C is so important, and we have so much free radical damage, inflammation in our body that we can't keep up with the amount of vitamin C that we need. Personally, I've decided to take vitamin C like a couple thousand milligrams a day for maintenance, and in acute situation, I take much more, like up to 10,000 a day spread out. You don't want to hurt your stomach. But that's what I do personally. And then vitamin D if it's the winter, and lysine is this really important one, especially for those with the herpes virus or cold sores. It's antiviral, so it's great. There's a question here that I'm going to read. Wow. Okay. Sorry, everyone got to see that one because I had to pull it up in full screen mode. So talking about chemicals and how they might affect the immune system, because we're talking about detoxification here too. How do chemicals affect the immune system? And it's really unclear. There's no clear answer because there are so many chemicals. I mean, there's tens of thousands of man-made chemicals that we use. across all industries. So the ones in personal care products like hair dye um, are very like irritating to the body systems and can lead to allergic reactions, which implicates the immune system being burdened or irritated. So when like I'm just going off of like when I've had my hair dyed in the past, I get runny nose, irritated eyes, burning sensations, and so I know I'm having an immune response to it. Now, that's like acute right in the moment. And then once it's all washed out, I feel a little bit better. However, as we know, the skin absorbs everything that's put onto it, and, conventional mainstream likes to ignore that. But then they say, go put the nicotine patch on to help you stop smoking. Well, that's nicotine being absorbed into your skin. So we know, like, whether anyone wants to admit it or not, we know that we are absorbing any chemical we put on our skin, anything we put on our skin. So hair dye, how much of it gets absorbed when you're having your hair done? And that's the question that no one can really answer unless there's a clear study on it. But I think this is where you have to kind of just go with your intuition and decide, like, do I feel like my body is in a place right now where it is overwhelmed and my toxic load, my total load is pretty high. And you can know that by just analyzing how you feel on a day-to-day basis. Do you have headaches? Do you have skin rashes? Do you have any joint pain or inflammation? Do you have fatigue? Do you have seasonal allergies? Any of those kind of symptoms, digestive issues, dandruff, tons of things. Symptoms like that are chronic can be indicators of a high burden on your system, a high total load. So for me, I knew I was there, and I said, what chemicals, what toxins, what infections, what things can I lower to lower my total load? And so the hair dye thing, bringing it back around, is something that's contributing to your total load. There's no question, but it's a matter of like, which ones do you want to let go of? Like someone asked me once at one of our Take Back Your Health conferences, well, I love to paint my nails. Like, what should I do? Because I don't want to give that up. Well, now we have natural nail polish options, so it's not so much an issue. But back then we didn't have so many options. And so I said, well, it's a matter of, what are you willing to sacrifice to be healthy? And what do you want to keep to be happy? So you just have to ask yourself that question. If you keep your Wi-Fi on all night, maybe that can be one thing you do to lower your total load. Put it on a Christmas tree light timer at night so that the Wi-Fi goes off at night. That reduces the burden on your immune system for 7 to 9 hours while you're sleeping. And so that's one thing you can do. So get rid of the hair dye if your intuition tells you, yes, you need to get rid of that. But if you really love it and you're not so stressed about it, then just get rid of other burdens. That's my point. Okay, long story there. Hope that helped. Okay. What if you get sick? This is the second piece. I think I have 3 slides left. So if you guys have hung in this long, thank you. My story. Okay. What if you get sick? So my fiance Ross, he asked me to write down, like, what should our protocol be if one person in our family gets COVID-19, or what if we all get COVID-19? What should we do? Can you write it down, Rob? And so he's like, back in the end of January, early February, watching all these international news things on YouTube, like stockpiling toilet paper and food and supplements and herbal teas and herbal medicine and everything, which is great, in our basement. And my family and me are kind of like getting a little worried about him. But then like 4 weeks later, our entire country starts shutting down, and we're like, oh my God, thank you, Ross. Because he had gotten a box of masks for us and a box of gloves, and he had gotten he'd gotten pretty intense masks as well. It was kind of scary. That's what really started worrying me. But then once it all went down, I was like, okay, that's reasonable. But anyways, he asked me to write down, like, what should we do if one of us gets sick? So I wrote down, like, boom, 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 boom. And like back to what I said about feeling like I'm being censored, like I can't put it up here for you guys because it would be taken as like that's my advice to you, and that's not right because everyone has a different situation. And everything that I've mentioned so far, like you really do have to look at your own body and your own health and how these things might affect you personally, because how it all affects me is very different. And everybody's um, biology is really different. So, and that's the foundation of my nutrition education, is that we have a lot of biological differences based on a lot of factors that dictates like what food is best for us. Like some people, certain foods are like medicine to them, and it's like poison to other people. So I'm not going to tell you like what I would do for myself exactly with dosages. Um, I gave you a few examples back there, but this is kind of like, I'm going to give you a general approach here, what I would do. And it kind of goes along with what I do for Lyme disease anyways. Also, if you get sick, continue the long-term prevention techniques that we just talked about, like um, those last 4 slides, emphasizing the sleep, because that's when your immune system can work like most effectively. And then supplementing with those nutrients that the immune system needs in high amounts when it's working on an acute infection. And also sunshine for the vitamin D and the sterilization of the UV rays. Okay, this is a really important piece also, and this is where I can't like give you exact dosings, and I feel frustrated, but quantity and frequency matter so much with natural remedies. Like oftentimes we need more often than we think. So I'm going to give you an example. At the Longevity Now conference that I went to about 11 or 12 years ago, David Wolf was saying what he does if he feels like he has a tickle in his throat, or he gets on a plane and feels like he was sitting next to someone who had something that he might have gotten. And I think he did this on his brother once when he was sick, and he just gave his brother, he's like, yes, vitamin D is important, vitamin C is important, krill oil, cod liver oil, astaxanthin, chlorella, all those things, like lemon juice, lemon rind, essential oils, like they're all important. And what you would do on a daily basis for maintenance is not at all like enough for what you need when you're in an acute situation. So I found that for my approach to Lyme disease, it's frequency and intensity that you ramp up to, and that's where you really see effectiveness, and then you give your body a break. So that's my approach with the Lyme disease in particular. And I believe also is a really good approach for acute situations, like if you have the flu or a cold, based on my own experience with what I've done. So, okay. These are just 2 slides here. This is the first one. Use antimicrobials. This is what I was talking about with like the quantity and the frequency. Garlic, we know, is so important for antifungal. It's really potent. It has antimicrobial properties. It permeates your whole body. If you take any garlic, like your feet will smell like garlic. So we have separated out garlic because of its potency from the culinary herbs and spices category right next to it. When we were seeing COVID-19 flare up in our community for the first time, I started taking a garlic clove every day. I chopped it up and I chewed on a little bit and swallowed it with a big glass of water, and it probably worked wonders on my oral health, and then helped me, and I smelled like garlic for like a month and a half. And I've eased up on it a little bit because, again, intensity and quantity for a while, but then give your body a break. Culinary herbs and spices: thyme, sage, rosemary, clove, cinnamon, cumin, ginger, turmeric, cayenne, and more. You'd want to put these into your cooking. A lot of them, I don't think that you can overdose on thyme leaves, like in your chicken soup or something. But I apologize if you can. Sorry. Oh boy. Censorship. Okay. Probiotic foods. Kimchi, sauerkraut, yogurt, kefir, kombucha, natto, miso, sour cream. We have all these probiotic foods that will give your body it's kind of like your own little miniature army of good bacteria that goes in and helps rebalance the microbiome and the environment in there. They can make it inhospitable again to those pathogens. So really, really important. They also produce those hydrogen peroxide like substances in your gut that helps turn the pH right and helps keep the pathogen load down. Okay, the next slide here, we have more antimicrobials, but this is more like maybe methods of delivery here. So herbal remedies. I mentioned a lot of herbs in the previous slide. So how do we take them? We take them in the form of supplements, pills, cleanses, which is like a organized strategic orchestra of pills and supplements. Scram is like one of my favorite parasite cleanses to do. It knocks down the pathogen load in your gut, which knocks down the burden and overwhelm on your immune system pretty quickly in the course of like a month or 45 days. And it's not like the most thorough parasite cleanse that you can do, but I like to do it once a year just as maintenance, getting that load down. So super easy. It's just one time a day swallowing these pills. There are herbal teas. We drink herbal tea on a daily basis here. If I was sick, I would be drinking herbal tea every hour. I'd be drinking lemon ginger tea, turmeric, thyme, lemon balm, which is also antiviral, pau d'arco tea. So I'd be doing that every hour. Cat's claw, you can put that into some tea as well. Really powerful herbs there that you can use. Tinctures is another way of getting herbal supplements, herbal remedies into your body. Usually you're taking a tincture and putting it into a small glass of water and drinking it. There are some really good Byron White tinctures out there that are all mostly antimicrobial and detoxifying. There are different protocols, like the Cowden protocol is what I used for Lyme disease. And that's just an example of an herbal protocol that's been designed by a doctor to work for the majority of people on a broad range of bacteria and virus. Wormwood, black walnut hull, pau d'arco, cat's claw, and Japanese knotweed are common herbs used in like parasite cleanses, Lyme disease cleanses, antimicrobial cleanses in general. So those are some that you can buy individually as tea or as supplements. I know another one I left out is neem, but all of these are really, they are powerful, and so they're going to affect everyone a little differently. And I do want to mention that when you are doing taking antimicrobials and you're doing it in the intensity and the frequency that's actually effective, you might notice changes in your body. I'm going to tell you two stories, and that's going to explain to you why I feel really uncomfortable giving you dosing or telling you specifically, yes, you should do this. When I first found out I had Lyme disease, I took a while and I decided I wanted to do the Cowden protocol, and it helped immensely. Then I wanted to do another protocol to go deeper, and I did the Buhner protocol, Buhner. He's very unspecific about dosing as well. And because he likes to actually see a person, but he's published his unspecified protocol. And so I was doing that one and making the dosing according to what the pill bottles said. And my microbiome changed rapidly. And actually, a staph infection emerged, a really serious one. It wasn't MRSA or any like super bug. It was just plain old staph that emerged because whatever population or whatever grouping of bacteria and virus and yeast that were keeping that staph in my body in check, because everyone has all these bacteria, but it's just all this delicate balance, and it's kept in check by one another. It's like a system of checks and balances, that works sometimes and works doesn't. So what happened is that staph just all of a sudden wasn't kept in check because my microbiome was changing. And this is, this is also me theorizing a little bit based on what I've read and heard from other practitioners who have worked with antimicrobial protocols. But so the staph infection just grew out of control and I was hospitalized for a while. So when you start herbal protocols that are with herbs that you've never taken before, with multiple herbs and with high frequent dosing, that's a really, really extreme example, okay? And admittedly, I felt the warning signs for weeks and weeks before I did anything about it. So I was not as careful as I should have been. But I want to tell you that, and it's not to like deter you from any of this, but it's just to explain to you why I can't give you more specific information on these herbs. I'm not an herbalist, so all of these in in tea format would be really safe because that's diluted, but it's also potent at the same time. You're still getting the nutrients and the antimicrobial effects, but you're not taking a condensed like supplement that has a really powerful effect, and that you can't really control how much, you don't really know exactly how much you need. Herbal tea is a much safer way to do it frequently throughout the day. So I would do the teas, and then I'd work with a practitioner to do the supplements perhaps, or do lots of research yourself. Interestingly, wormwood is something that Madagascar and Tanzania are using to fight a particular virus not to be named. Okay, fire cider is just another method of delivering all of these herbs. We've taught this so many times at our Take Back Your Health conference. And you basically chop up all of these ingredients and you put it into a quart-sized jar with apple cider vinegar and let it sit for 6 weeks. And then the tincture that results, you take it by the shot full on a daily basis. My fiance is obsessed with it. So guys love it. All right, essential oils. This is my current Lyme protocol. I'm taking a really specific essential oil protocol around like 4 times a day, certain essential oils, and it's actually I'm noticing an amazing shift, which is not just like a physical shift, like it's a spiritual, emotional shift too. It's really interesting. Essential oils are pretty powerful, and there are people who have developed certain protocols for like Lyme disease or antiviral protocols or antimicrobial, and this is where you get a little bit outside of what is allowed by the FDA. So you have to really do some of that research on your own, or talk to me personally if you want me to point you in that direction. But we all know, we've all heard of like oregano oil being used like as an anti-candida remedy. So that's just one example. Thieves. Okay, Thieves is a popular blend. It's from that, that old wives' tale, which I actually don't think that's a good way to say it. I believe they have evidence and proof that these combinations of herbs were used by thieves during the bubonic plague to protect them from that pathogen. And interestingly, South Korea recently approved this specific formula, combination of herbs and spices as an effective killer of certain virus not to be named right now. We all know what I'm talking about. Okay, you can Google that. Okay, so those are things that you can do. Again, if you have an acute situation, you go, this is what I would do. I would take these things and I'd go fast and hard with it. And then I would give my body a break. I'd sleep, rest, and I would go out in the sunshine here again with this. Okay. Oh boy, that was a lot of information. But my message is there are so many ways to empower your immunity, it might be overwhelming, everything that I told you, or it might be underwhelming, or it might be just the right amount for you. Um, it starts with just implementing one or two of these every couple months, and by the end of the year, your body's going to be in such a different place. For acute situations, I keep saying it's about the quantity and the frequency. For long-term prevention, it's about the consistency of it and the rotation of different antimicrobials. Okay, so that's a lot. I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm going to obviously have this slide available for you guys. The recording will be available for you guys. I'm going to take a few minutes and just see if any questions pop up. You can type them into the question area. I also wanted to tell you that I did put a fun poll into this webinar. I don't know if you've been prompted to take a poll and answer some questions, but if you find that, please know that I wrote that poll with a sense of humor in mind. And so you could read it like, wow, these are intense questions, or you could read it like, oh, this is Robin like trying to make light of an intense situation and breathe some, you know, humor into it. So I just want your opinion on, you know, take back your health events, you know, how to move forward in this environment that we're in, because I have so many ideas, so much energy, and I could do any number of scenarios for our upcoming events. But I really just want to do what makes you guys happy. As long as it works, works for me. So anyways, if you can answer those questions, I'd appreciate it. If you need more support with your health, I am really excited to have more time now because my kids are older. So I'm getting back into doing some coaching and consultations, some energy healing, distant energy healing. So if you need more support, just email me. This is the web page where you can go and get more information about that. And then come back to the website often for more information on upcoming events. And then Facebook, Instagram, my email address there. Please feel free to contact me and follow me. Okay, so I'm going to stop the screen share. I'm back. Okay. All right. Wow, chamomile tea has mold. I didn't know that and have been drinking lately. Okay. Oh, so it does. This is so when you dry flowers and herbs and everything, it can really commonly grow certain forms of mold, not really toxic mold. Okay, so if it grew really toxic mold, they would pick up on that and they would not sell that. However, in particular with teas, you're going to see some light mold growth that passes through, and it can be an additional irritant on top of a body that already has a really high total load. So like I mentioned with the question about the hair dye, it's about like what's important to you and what's not, what bothers you, what doesn't, what your intuition tells you you need to look at, and what you don't feel like you need to look at. So if that triggered you, to the person who asked the chamomile tea question, like if that triggered you, then maybe that is something you need to look at. It's not, it also has to do with the quality. So if you go with a brand like Organic India that is really careful about their standards and the quality of their product, and they know about these issues that can come up with mold growth, then you're going to be pretty safe going with a company like that. That's my recommendation for the chamomile tea situation. Okay, what vitamin C do you put in your water every day? And did you get rid of your Berkey filter? Okay, so vitamin C. I put vitamin C, oh gosh, let me see. I'm going to pull up my site right here because that's where the link is, and I can tell you right now exactly. I use Pure Synergy Pure Radiance C. I put like a quarter teaspoon of that into my water 4 times a day. So I take 4 times the amount that they recommend taking every day. They recommend a quarter teaspoon a day, which is a couple hundred milligrams. So I take a lot because I'm, making sure that my Lyme doesn't come back, and I'm detoxing a lot this spring. But even just the 1/4 teaspoon a day is so helpful. The other brand I love is Health Force. Health Force Superfoods, truly natural vitamin C. If you're in the live webinar right now, I'm going to copy the link to this blog post in the communication section so you can go read about the supplements I would take during a viral outbreak. Okay, is there an essential oil called South Korea? If not, do you know what herbs are? If not, okay, so that slide where I was talking about thieves and then it was dash South Korea. Sorry, that was a little bit confusing. Thieves is the name of the blend that, so one company, Young Living, calls this blend thieves because it was used by the thieves during the bubonic plague who go into the homes of those who had died and steal. So they would put like rosemary, eucalyptus, clove, orange peel, like all these different, or lemon, all these different spices and herbs on to protect themselves because they had really powerful antiviral, antibacterial properties. And this company, Young Living, reformulated it and they call it Thieves. It's a Thieves blend. Many essential oil companies replicate this blend, but I used the term Thieves that Young Living uses because it's like it kind of more commonly recognized, that term, Thieves blend. South Korea recently put Thieves onto its list of approved antimicrobial, whatever, antiviral, and I'm so censored right now, I'm freaking out, approved list for this current pathogen that we're dealing with. Okay, so that I'll leave it at that. That's why South Korea came into the slide. I should give you guys a link to that. I'll try to find it and I'll send it to you guys if I can remember. Remind me if I don't do that in the next day or two. Okay. All right. So I think that's all the questions. Any more? Okay, guys, thank you so much for being here today. The recording should go out to you within the next 48 hours or so. And I hope that it helps make you feel empowered to take back your health and deal with this lifestyle of pandemics that may or may not become more frequent. But it's not something to be worried about. It's something to feel like, oh, I can do something and life is changing, but there are so many silver linings. That's what we need to focus on, the silver linings every day and the things that we can do to be healthy. So, all right, everyone, go back out into the world and enjoy. Thank you guys so much. I have one more question that popped up, so I'll answer that real quick. Did I get rid of my Berkey? Forgot to answer that one, so she asked it again. I did not get rid of my Berkey. I simply diversified my water sources. So I do drink the Berkey sometimes, but we have another water filter that provides alkaline water, and we also get water from my parents who have a great well. So we do get some gallons of water from them sometimes. And then we also, we buy mineral water sometimes. So we get like a variety, and I'm working on actually getting a subscription to some mineral water soon here as well, which I've been wanting to do for a while, but we just move around a lot. And so it's always been a struggle. I have a link in my website to a post about all this water stuff, water filters, what's in your water, how to find the best water for you. If you go to my website, clubtbyh.com, and in the search bar, you type in water, this post will come up. And I'm also sending it to the participants of the live webinar right now so that you can see that. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm checking out now. Have a great evening. I'll see you all again soon, hopefully on the next webinar in 2 weeks. Okay. Bye.